Hello everybody, thank you for clicking on my channel. I'm Peter the Book Lover. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about books and sometimes I talk about movies. And today I'm going to talk about one movie, just one. And this is going to be Robocop from 1987. This is a dystopian novel that's set in a near future from 1987, and it is a really cool one. Now, if you have not seen the movie Robocop, especially if you only know Robocop from 2014's Robocop, you should stop this video, go hunt this movie down and watch it, because it would be just as good today in 2026 as it was in 1987. It's really excellent. And I'm going to give a summary of the complete movie, so there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie, go check it out. It's really, really a good movie. Okay, so this is Robocop from 1987. This was directed by Paul Verhoeven, and he's done some other really good movies as well. As a matter of fact, after he did this movie, he did a whole bunch of movies that were really good. He did Total Recall, which is my second favorite movie by him. Then he did Basic Instinct. That's not one of my favorite ones, but that's a really popular movie. I think the reason why that was so popular because there's like this one scene that's like everybody pauses their VCR on that one. Then there's also Starship Troopers, which is another really awesome movie by him. And then there's Showgirls. This is another one that's not one of my favorites, but this is a very, very popular movie. And he did Hollow Man. And yeah, and he's also done this one, Robocop, and he did a really great job making this movie. Now, the actors in this movie are Officer Murphy by Peter Weller. He does a great job in this movie. Then we've got Officer Lewis by Nancy Allen. She's also in the movie Carrie, which is another one of my favorite movies. And she was also in this movie called Blowout. That was another really good Brian De Palma movie. And then we got Dick Jones, played by Ronnie Cox. He's in Total Recall, which is a really awesome movie. I said that before. And then Beverly Hills Cop. And apparently in Beverly Hills Cop 2, but I don't remember that one. I do remember Beverly Hills Cop. It was really good, but I enjoyed 48 Hours more. And I also loved his stand-up comedy by Eddie Murphy. Then we've got Clarence Boddicker, played by Kurtwood Smith, and he was also in That 70s Show, which is, he was the father Red, and he was an awesome character in that show. He plays Clarence Boddicker in this movie, and he's also in the movie Fortress as a villain, and he does a great job as a villain. Also, he does great comedy. Really wonderful actor. I really like this guy a lot. Then we got Email by Paul McCrane. And then we got Robert Morton by Miguel Ferrer. And that's all the cast that I'm going to cover. Of course, there's more great actors in this movie. There's a lot of great performances in this movie, but that's all I'm going to cover. Okay, so let me give you the summary. The first thing that you see is the logo for Orion Pictures, which is really cool. And then you see Robocop, and the front to Robocop, the lettering is really cool. It's like a stone kind of setting, and I really like the logo to Robocop, and I love the theme music that goes along with it. And then it does this thing that's kind of unique in this movie. He does this in Starship Troopers as well. There's these over-the-top fake news segments, and they're really crazy. They're very comical. The way they're delivering the news is, they kind of take it seriously. That's the thing. Everybody in this movie kind of takes this movie serious. They're not playing it with comedy, and it's just great the way they do these fake commercials as well. And you see the main bad guy from this movie in the beginning. That is Clarence Boddicker. And you see him right in the beginning. And he is wanted, he's at large for killing 31 cops. He's a cop killer, okay? So then it goes into Officer Murphy he's transferred to Detroit Metro West. And you see him go there, and he does a little tour of the station. And then right after that, we meet his partner, which is Lewis. Now, the thing about it is that I never really thought about it until watching this movie now, is that she is another heroine. She's a really tough female character, you know what I mean? I never realized that she was one of those, because you really don't think about her because you're paying so much attention to Robocop, and she's like the second main character of this movie, but she actually is a very tough chick in this movie, except for one part when she looks down when she shouldn't. But when you first meet her, she's actually there's a guy they're arresting, and he's out of control, and she puts him in line, and it's a really great scene, and it's really great introduction to him and her, and then they go out together and they patrol together. And then it cuts to like a meeting, and Ed Jones is revealing this new type of cop. It is the Ed 209. Now, Ed 209 is a stop motion animation character. It has a lot of unique sounds to it. It actually's got a lion's growl to it, which really is a nice touch. And this Ed 209 is very ominous, you know what I mean? He's very threatening, and you do not want to mess with this mechanical cop. And during the demonstration, he calls this guy Mr. Kenny, and the name is kind of funny to me after being familiar with South Park, but Mr. Kenny is told to point a gun at Ed 209, and Ed 209 says, "Please put down your weapon. You have 15 seconds. So he takes the gun and he throws the gun down, and then he goes, "You've got 10 seconds to comply." And then Ed 209 winds up blowing him away in a really violent fashion. Now, the thing about this movie is that I really am a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm a fan of Halloween, but this movie has a lot more blood in it than Halloween or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre combined. Because this scene when Ed 209 blows away Mr. Kenny, it is very violent and it's very graphic, and it's excellent. I'm so glad that this is an R-rated movie, not like a PG-13 movie. And this is like an R-rated movie, and there's no nudity in this movie. The reason why I got an R rating is the violence in this movie, and it's perfect for this movie. I really am glad that this is an R-rated movie. As a matter of fact, the remake they recently made is a PG-13 movie, and it's nowhere near as good as this movie. Okay, so then we got, he kills Mr. Kenny, and then Robert Morton suggests the Robocop program. And so they decide, since Ed 209 failed so miserably, they're going to go with the Robocop program. So then we cut back to Murphy and Lewis, and they're getting coffee, and he's practicing this gun trick. And Officer Lewis asks him, "Well, what is this gun trick about?" And he says, "Oh, my son really likes this, so of course I'm going to practice this for my son, and I'm really doing it." And he does this gun trick. And then they get called in because there's a bank robbery. Then we cut to Clarence Boddicker and his gang. And they're robbed the bank, but the bank money actually got burned during the robbery, and it got ruined because when they blowed up the bank, some of the money got caught on fire. So now it's all marked, and Clarence Boddicker is really pissed about this. And then Lewis and Murphy actually do a car chase, and then you get to see another side of Clarence Boddicker and how vicious he is. One of his crew gets shot in the leg, so he sacrifices him by throwing him on the cop car. But before he throws him, he says a line, "Can you fly?" And then he throws him on the squad car and he smashes. But then they wind up chasing them to this old steel mill. And they get out of the car, they run, but Murphy and Lewis are on the chase. And they kind of split up, and then Officer Lewis actually runs into one of the gang members, and she actually shows a sign of female weakness and gets knocked out. But then they catch Officer Murphy, and they murder him violently. It's a very violent scene. His hand gets blown off, and he gets shot about 50 times, so he's like pretty much dead. So they take this body and they put him in, and they're going to turn him into the Robocop. Okay? And right before the scene, there's this one joke that's reappearing several times in this movie. It's, "I'll buy that for $1." And you keep on seeing this line repeated, and it's pretty funny. It actually gets really funny the more time you watch it. I really, really, really like that little joke they keep on putting in. And then we got the Murphy being turned into Robocop montage. So it's this montage. There's all these different scenes put together showing him becoming Robocop and people working on him. They have a party celebrating that he's getting ready to become Robocop, and it's done really well. And when you finally see Robocop, he is excellent. The suit they put him in looks amazing. I mean, I'm not joking. Robocop has a fantastic look, just like Ed 209 had a fantastic look. So then he goes and he goes to target practice, and all the cops that are at the target practice notice him, and then they go see him for the first time. They give him this room in the station that's kind of like his lair, and then he goes on patrol. And what's really cool is when he's about to get his car, he's walking across the station, and the sergeant throws a set of keys at him, and he catches it. And it's a really cool scene. It's a really great touch. And then he gets in his car, and then he goes around on patrol. Now, the first thing that he does is he stops a robbery. And it's a really fantastic scene. The guy is really violent to this couple that has this store. Robocop actually bends the gun down and throws him in a cooler. And then there's a rape scene. Well, it's not a rape scene. There's no nudity in this movie. But these two characters are getting ready to rape this woman. And all of a sudden, Robocop gets in a situation to where he can aim really well, and he winds up shooting one of the rapists right in the crotch, and it's pretty bloody, and he's in a lot of pain, and she's very thankful. When he saves her, the bullet hole is like really like on her dress, like right where near her crotch. It's a really close shot, and it's amazing. And the way that Robocop responds to her, because she's like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "Miss, you're under a lot of stress right now. We'll contact Rape Crisis Center," which is really cool. And then he goes, and there's a hostage situation. There's somebody that's keeping a bunch of hostages because he's losing his job, and he's making all these demands, and all these people are outside trying to talk him down in it, and Robocop just goes in the building. He's got this heat vision, you know what I mean? So he could see infrared vision to where he could see the heat signatures of people, and he could see the guy standing on one side of the wall, so he grabs him through a wall, and then he throws him out a window. It's pretty cool. He punches him out of a window, and it's really cool. And then he goes back to his little lair. And then when he's at his docking, okay, and then there's another scene before that where Dick Jones is in a bathroom, and Morton goes in there, and he's bragging about how he took over for Dick Jones, and Dick Jones comes out of the stall, and then he grabs him, and he's like, "You just fucked with the wrong guy." It's a really cool scene. It's really nice, and I really enjoyed that little scene. there's a guy that when he comes out of the thing that actually pees himself a little bit. You see the wet stain on him, and it's a nice, really nice detail. And then Robocop is at his docking station, and he starts having flashbacks of his murder. So then he decides to go hunt down his killers, and they try to stop him, but they can't stop Robocop. There's this one scene to where he's going to he's got this thing to where he could plug into a computer, kind of like R2-D2 can, and it's like, you can't do that, and this thing comes out like the middle finger, and he puts it in the air, and then he finds out who who the crew is, you know. And then as he's leaving the building, he runs into Officer Lewis, and she lets him know that she knows that he's Murphy, and she puts it in his head that he's Murphy, and then later on he discovers that he's Murphy, as well as he finds out the people that killed him. So then he goes to a gas station and stops a robbery, and one of the crew of Clarence Boddicker is there, and he's robbing a gas station, and Robocop stops the robbery, and it turns into this big, huge explosion. And then once he catches him, he finds out who all the killers are. You know, he gets all the aliases, and then he finds out who Clarence is and his gang. So, plus he finds out his name, so he goes to his house and he visits his house and sees his old life, but they kind of moved on because he was dead. So, and then he gets really angry and punches this this automated house salesman. It's a pretty interesting scene. He goes to his old house, and then he goes to a nightclub to catch one of the characters. And then we go to Robert Morton, the guy that introduced Robocop. He's having a little house party. And then Clarence comes over to the party and spoils the party. And then he winds up shooting him in his legs. And then he plays a videotape of Dick Jones. And Dick Jones is saying, you screwed over the wrong guy. I'm cashing you out. And then he sets off a grenade, and there's another explosion. Love these explosions in this movie. There's a lot of explosions in this movie. And then after that, we go to a cocaine factory. And when he arrives, there's this massive shootout. I'd say that Robocop winds up shooting about 20 people. You know what I mean? It's a really awesome, scene, because he has a great shootout. And then Clarence is at this cocaine house, so he's going to arrest Clarence Boddicker. But before Clarence Boddicker is about to get arrested, he rats out Dick Jones. So then Robocop arrests him, takes him to the station, and then he goes to arrest Dick Jones. But there's this computer program that stops him from doing it. It's called Directive Number 4. So he can't arrest him, and then Dick Jones has an Ed 209 there, and there's like a kind of shootout between him and Ed 209. And Ed 209 is actually kicking Robocop's ass in this scene, but then Robocop goes down a set of stairs, and then Ed 209 tries to follow him down the stairs, and he falls down the stairs. But it's an excellent scene. When he falls down the stairs and the noises he makes as he falls down the stairs, the animation is just amazing of Ed 209. It's one of my favorite parts of this movie. I really loved it. Yeah, and then after he leaves, it turns out that Dick Jones has ordered the police force to destroy Robocop. There's a lot of cops that don't want to do this, but they got to follow orders, so they're shooting at Robocop, and he's really getting pelted with a lot of bullets during this scene. And then he winds up falling down like a parking lot. There's like these ramps that he goes and falls down, and then Lewis winds up saving him. Now, then we get cut to, because throughout this movie, there's been these like fake news broadcasts, and there's this one scene at this is a really good part for me. A lot of people probably don't remember it, but there's this dinosaur they show for a minute, and it looks like a dinosaur movie, and it's got stop motion animation. And as you can tell, I'm a big fan of that. But then it turns out to be a car commercial, and it pops his eyes out, and then you see this car that you see later in the movie. It's I forgot the name of the car. It's the something 6000. So you see that, and then you find out the police are about to go on strike. And then Clarence gets out of jail and he goes to see Dick Jones. And Dick Jones orders him to destroy Robocop. And he gives him a tracker to track down Robocop. But it's not it's very dated technology, so it's not like you can only know the vicinity where he is. So then Murphy and Lewis, they go hide out at the old steel mill. That is the place where Robocop actually got killed in the first place, and he takes off his helmet at this point. And then, of course, the police are on strike. It has started. And then there's anarchy in the street. And then you've got this really cool scene to where Clarence drives up. One of the gang members drives up. He's got this new car, and he's like, look at this sweet car I got. And Clarence Boddicker pulls out these guns, and he's like, ooh, a new toy. Can I play? And Clarence Boddicker goes, check this out. He takes this gun and blows up the car he just pulled up in. But then they run around and they're blowing up all these cars. These guns are like really powerful guns, man. They're really excellent guns. And then they go and they're driving to the steel mill to catch Robocop. Now, right away, one of the gang members gets killed by getting shot by Robocop. And then there's a scene that one of the email is one of the gangbangers. He's got a gun and he's in this truck, and this truck hits a container that has toxic waste in it. And he crashes into this container, and all this toxic waste spills on this person. And he's been a really big jerk. He's the guy at the gas station that blew up the gas station, and he's really not a nice guy, so you don't feel bad about it, but he comes out looking like the Toxic Avenger. He's all messed up, man. He's all melting, and he's running around going, help me! And it's such an awesome scene, and young kids watching this will love it because it will scare the crap out of them, because it's a really awesome scene. I really love the scene. And then he's running around trying to get people to help him, and Clarence actually winds up running over him, and his head goes flying as he gets hit, and it's a pretty brutal hit. And then now you've got about 2 gangbangers left. One of them runs up to this crane, and he's in a crane building, and Robocop is having a shootout with Clarence Boddicker, and this guy drops all this metal on Robocop, and Robocop, it looks like he's in trouble. Right after he does that, Officer Lewis has one of those guns, and she winds up blowing the building that he is, and that guy's gone. And then Clarence Boddicker, he's all bloody, he's fighting with them, and he grabs this long metal pole, and he jabs it into Robocop. But Robocop has this like knife thing that comes out of his hand that's like, comes out like a middle finger, but he jabs him in the throat. And then Clarence Boddicker is dead. And then Officer Lewis goes, Murphy, I'm a mess. And Robocop goes, they'll fix you. They can do that. And then right after that, Robocop goes to police headquarters, back to the meeting room where they first introduced Ed 209. But as he pulls up, there's an Ed 209 in front of the building, guarding the building, and Robocop has that gun. I love that gun because it really blows things up. He takes that gun and blows up the Ed 209 that's guarding the building, and when it dies, it's like his body is gone, but his legs are left, and they're wobbling, and then it falls over, and the feet do this death twitch at the very end. It's really cool, man. The Ed 209 scenes really make this movie awesome. But then Robocop goes into the meeting room where they first came up with the idea for Robocop, and then Dick Jones, the directive for still is implied, so Robocop can't do anything because he's his higher officer. But then Robocop proves with a videotape that Dick Jones is actually guilty of murder, and then he tells the leader of the boardroom leader that he can't do anything about him because he's got this complication with his program can't let him kill him. So the head guy goes, "Dick, you're fired." And then Robocop is like, "Thank you." Then he winds up shooting Dick Jones in a glorious fashion, and he gets actually knocked out of the window when he gets shot, and there's a shot of him falling down. And then Robocop does that famous move where he does the gun twirl and puts it in his holster, and the head of director goes, "What's your name, officer?" "Murphy." And then it cuts to the end of the movie, and then you get the end credits. Now, most people, me, myself included, once you get to this point, you take the tape out, or you take the DVD out, or if you're in the movie theaters, you just leave. But here's a suggestion for me if you watch this movie. Not to watch the credits, but watch the credits and listen to the whole score of Robocop, because it's really excellent movie theme, and it's really excellent, man. The music to Robocop is fantastic. I do not know the person that put the music together, but it's as good as John Williams. Now, I suggest you do that in a Star Wars movie too. Once you finish A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, you stick around and listen to the symphony that's played at the end of this movie, and it's really awesome. Now, I gotta just say that Robocop is an excellent movie. It's like a wonderful movie, and the thing about it is I'm watching it now, and I gotta say it really stands the test of time. Like Star Wars stands the test of time. It's just as awesome today as it would be back in 1987. I'm willing to bet you if somebody hasn't seen this and seen this for the first time, they're going to love this, especially somebody that watched Robocop from 2014, because that is nowhere near as good as this Robocop. It's an excellent movie. It's got so many good parts, no wasted parts. There's not a single boring part to this movie. Everything is really awesome, and I highly recommend it. And that's me talking about Robocop, my review of Robocop. I hope you enjoyed my summary. If you did, let me know by hitting the like button. That would mean a lot to me. Let me know what you think. If you're a Robocop fan, let me know it. Let me know what you think of my summaries. If I've left something out, I'd love to hear your opinion. And that's about it. And also, if you can, please subscribe to my channel so you can inspire me to make more videos like this in the future. So that's it. I'm Peter the Book Lover. I want to thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. See you next time.